Have you noticed how it seems like everyone is getting a divorce these days? Women you thought had solid marriages, couples you thought were strong. You look around and it just seems like there's breakup after breakup after breakup. And you might be wondering why? Why is this happening? So, in today's episode, we are talking about the changing landscape of marriage and divorce and what that is looking like because it is like any other system right now. There's these new energies on the planet that are moving us into a new dimension, into a new era, and the systems that were built on the old structure of that distorted masculine can no longer hold. So we see systems like the government, healthcare, education, we see those starting to shake and crumble, and marriage is no different. And so we are talking about why this is happening, not only from like the daily perspective and what is going on in relationships these days, but we're also going to get into a more of a spiritual aspect of this because I really strongly believe that there is one. So gone are the days when divorce was really reserved for these extreme circumstances like abuse and adultery and those really high tense situations. Now it just seems like people are divorcing just because they're unsettled, unhappy. We hear this like divorcing the good man trend, like there's nothing wrong, but I'm not feeling settled in myself. So we are going deep into the soul level stuff, and let's start with what is happening on the in this spiritual realm, in the energetic realm where the systems are shaking and crumbling. So if you are not in the spiritual realm, you may not have heard that we're shifting from this three-dimensional energy into this fifth dimensional planet. So what this means is for the last few thousand years, our system, society, everything in our world has been built on this distorted masculine energy. So lots of control, lots of structure, lots of like, this is how it needs to be done. And if you're out of line, like you're out. Control, 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 and very rigid in how it must look. The fifth dimension is more fluid. It's more of this divine feminine energy. So we're like fully swinging this pendulum, not from masculine to feminine, but from this distorted version of masculine, not divine masculine, to this divine feminine energy. So we are going through a massive planetary evolution and shift in what our world is going to look like. And the divine feminine is more heart-centered, in flow, intuition, natural cycles, and really this loving, nurturing energy. So we have this like rigid, distorted control energy, and we're moving into this fluid energy. So what that means is like everything that is built on this old energy and these old patterns, we feel these shaking. And you might not be aware of this, but if you're like in the spiritual world, you can start to see these shifts happening. It's almost like, these buildings, if we're picturing each, like the government, the education, the healthcare, like as these buildings, like they're shaking and things are starting to fall away and crumble. And we're not going to go into this devastating crumble. We are moving into something really, really beautiful. That is still being born. That is still going through the birthing process. We don't know yet what it is that we are moving to in this divine feminine energy. So, things like during COVID, we saw that the healthcare system wasn't what we all thought it should be, and crumbling. And we see these new ways of taking care of our health starting to develop, but there's this crumbling that's happened, that we recognize that the old way is not the correct way, or it's not the right way to do things anymore. We're moving into something different, but we don't have a clear picture of exactly what that is. So marriage is the same. We have this, this way that we have been told to do things for generations and generations across cultures, like stick to this. And that is starting to not feel good at a soul level. I really do believe it is at a soul level. Now, there are things and reasons on the surface of like, attacks on families in terms of like the family structure and, the divine masculine polarization within relationship dynamics. There's these cycles of stuck where it's like women are very much in their masculine and control, control, control. And men are like, cool, peace out. I'm going to go work and I'm not going to help around the house. And there's there's a lot of things going on in the day-to-day, but really under the surface of that all, it's just this system is shaking, and and crumbling, and we're seeing divorce rates like go up and up and up. And it's not that relationships are getting worse, it's that we feel this unsettledness within us. And we see so many women, at least online, at least this is prevalent in my feed, even in my friend circles, of like, I'm not happy. I'm no longer happy in this relationship. There's nothing inherently wrong. Yes, we might have the day-to-day squabbles, and we're feeling like we're stuck in this cycle we can't break. And there's all these things like we're overwhelmed, all of this stuff. But it's like, I know I have a good man, but I'm so deeply unhappy. And it's not necessarily happy on the superficial level. It's like this soul calling, this unfulfillment, this knowing that you're meant for something more, you're meant for something different, and you need to break free of this relationship to move into that. And so this transition from marriage to divorce, for I'll say no reason, for no extreme reason, we keep seeing this. And I really just believe that this is a soul contract thing. This is the evolution of what we're going through on the planet. The family structure is evolving. And when you think about divorce, we're only like a couple generations into divorce being, I'll say, more and more common. Like when my grandparents were married back in the day, divorce was very uncommon, very unheard of. And it's only taken a couple of generations to get where we are, where there's like almost a 50% divorce rate, depending on where you are. And so we see this evolution of family happening, and there's a way to divorce, a way to divorce of what's expected during divorce. It's expected to be confrontational. It's expected to be conflict, like high conflict. It's expected to be like, people expect you to be fighting. The process is designed for you to be fighting. But more and more people are shifting away from that because they know that, moving into this divine feminine energy, they're not maybe thinking about it that way, but there is a need for more fluidity, more of a nurturing, heart-centered approach. And that's, really what I do in my coaching is like, how can we make this as amicable as possible and as peaceful as possible? And really like what is best for the kids and what is best for you and what is best for your ex? Like, how can we do this in a really healthy way where you're actually like, dissolving one version of your relationship and building a healthy, different version of that? So divorce has typically meant one thing, and marriage has typically meant one thing, but we are rewriting the story. We are rewriting the narrative of what it means to be married and then divorced, and what is the new version of family looking like. And we get to be really, really conscious about rewriting that story. We don't have to follow the script that's been given to us, and really that's only been laid out starting with super high confrontational situations. And if you've started the divorce process, if you've gone through any of it, like, lawyers are out to mitigate all possible risks and think of every what if scenario, and you're having fights potentially over stupid little things that aren't even pertinent to your relationship. They're made up on these what if hypothetical scenarios, and you can give me all the reasons in the world of like, yeah, that's just for protection, blah, blah, blah. And you can choose to play that game if you want to. You can absolutely choose to play that game, or you can choose to play another game. You can choose to say like, okay, we're ending our marriage and it sucks that we're ending our marriage, but it doesn't have to mean screwing our kids. It doesn't have to mean fighting. It can be something different. And it takes a lot of, I'll say, courage and conscious effort to say, I'm going to reject how the way things have been done. I'll say in the divorce industry, in this, since we're talking about that, I'm going to reject how things have been done, and I'm going to go my own path. But I can tell you, with absolute certainty, you are capable of writing your own path and your own story in this, regardless of what is going on in your scenario. You are so powerful in the creation and manifestation of what is coming and what you're building, that you can absolutely reject the script that's been given to you and rewrite your own version of what divorce looks like, of what this new version of your family looks like, of what it looks like to support your kids across two households. So I want you to know, if you are currently in a marriage and you're feeling that rattling and shaking, you're feeling like, I can't pinpoint exactly what's wrong. I know, but I feel like I need to get out. This is crumbling. It's not working. I'm so deeply unhappy. I can tell you from my own perspective that yes, we had problems in our relationship, but when we were able to come to this decision, to split up our marriage, to up our marriage. We were able to come to that from a very amicable position right away. I will say the years leading up were more the conflicts that we faced, and yes, we faced some conflicts, as we were rebuilding a new version of ourselves, because any change is going to be unsettling and uncomfortable, and you're there's going to have to be some give and take. You can't control everything, and especially I find as mothers, that can be really hard for us at times of not having full control over, how our kids are being treated, how they're, being fed, the clothes they're going into school. Are they remembering, that it's green shirt day at school or whatever it is? We can't control. We have to let go of control when we're splitting up a household. There's going to be some giving up control, because in return we're getting some of that, I'll say freedom, but it's really this freedom to go down a new path that our soul is really calling us to do. And I can tell you that when we made the decision to split up, I felt like a really big weight was lifted off of us. Like our soul, like we finally just like gave into what God was calling us to do, and just saying like, hey guys, your soul contract's over. Like this needs to shift now so you can build this new version of family for yourself. So it felt like a big weight, and it felt like we've been on the right path ever since. If you are feeling this unsettledness, if you're wondering why everyone is splitting up, if you're just like, what is happening? People are being selfish. They're not holding true to their vows. They're all of that rigid rules is really the way of that distorted masculine when the structures were built. And we are moving into something different. And it's not to say there will not be a place for marriage down the road. I really, really do believe that we are meant to be in partnership. We are meant to be in relationships. We are meant to be in families, all of that stuff. We're just building something different. And we don't know exactly what that looks like, but you can choose to move into the direction that you want to go, rather than playing in this high conflict, battleground that divorce has the reputation for. And that's the script that, you're supposed to follow. So if you want to do something more intentional with your co-parenting situation, with your divorce process, definitely reach out and book a one-on-one call. The link will be down below. And I am here to work with you wherever you're at, whatever your dynamic is right now, to make it a better scenario and really rewrite this version of relationship and the version of your family that you are desiring, that your soul is calling you forward to be and to have.